Hello everyone. Welcome to our podcast once again, European Future, Green and Sustainable. I'm so glad you've tuned in today because we're going to cover a crucial topic in green entrepreneurship and in global business in general, namely human resources management, HR and HRM for short. Joining us today is Alex from Spain. Welcome, Alex. How are you?
Welcome everyone. Thank you very much, Anna, for having me today. And I'm more than glad to talk more about the human resources and human resources management and how we can implement green practices in this field. So for start, let me to introduce to you a little bit more what is actually the human resources, because maybe not everyone is familiar with this term. So human resources are basically all the processes in the company, starting from the recruitment, so getting on board all the new employees, then it goes through the training, so they would be more prepared for their role in the company, so they would know what their role is, what are the responsibilities, and how to do their workload effectively. Then it goes also through the remuneration, because we all need to get some additional value for our work. So this remuneration can be material or non-material. So material in the form of money or material things, and non-material, for example, some bonuses, language classes, and etc. And the last one, and also a very important one, is a motivation of the employees to be in the company, and retention. Retention means that when we get some employees on board, so they will actually want to stay in the company, and they would not want to leave, for example, after 1 year or 2 years. That's called employee turnover. So none of the companies like it, because it costs money and is losing the effectiveness. So this is also a very important part of the business.
That's awesome. So we've covered the basics. Could you tell me how those basics apply in green business?
So for example, as I mentioned, there's like 4 main pillars of the human resources. So we can start with the first one. That's the onboarding and of the new employees, and recruitment. So it's very important for the companies to do this recruitment process as eco-friendly and sustainable as possible. So for example, nowadays a lot of the companies, they are preferring actually to conduct the interviews by the digital form, so do it online, and also to do all the recruitment process as paperless as possible. So when you think about it, maybe 10 years ago, all the contracts, every job you started, they give you a ton of papers. So now the companies are going for more the digital way. So even the contract, all the attachments, all the important information and documents you should study and know before you start the work, they're sending it the digital way. And maybe the most important thing in the recruitment process, when the HR and the personalists are conducting the interview, is to see if the future or possible candidates are implying or they're sharing the same values as the company. So it's important to tell them about the company's policy and how the company is trying to be more sustainable and green, and to maybe check on the potential candidate if they're sharing the same values, because it's important when you're looking for the employees that they will be sharing the same values, and also promoting and engaging in the company's culture.
Wow, awesome. Okay, but how does training happen to be more sustainable? How do you do that? Because it's incredible, you can cut down on paper, but Tell me, share with me how it applies with training.
Thank you for your question. It's actually a very nice way how to connect the second part that's training that what I wanted to talk about. So actually HR in the company, they are one of the ones they have the, we can say, biggest power on implementing the green policies, and we can say like maybe influencing the minds of the people, because they are the entity in the company that is actually conducting and doing a workshop for its employees. So we can start, they can do a lot of workshop about recycling, sustainable living, reducing the carbon offprint, and etc. And also in the training for the position, it's important not only to have the company culture, as I told you before, you know, to try to be more green and sustainable, but it's also important for the people to know what are the values. So because we can have on the document all the things like very nice written, very nice, but if the people don't know about it and they are not trying to implement it in their day-to-day life, we can say it's not very useful. So it's also important for the HR to tell the people about it, and then also for them to check if the individual employees are implementing it. Because as we know, like a lot of the people, they maybe will say, oh yeah, like I agree with it, we have it, but if at the end, for example, in the office, we have the recycling bins, everything is great, we are doing recycling, but if people or the employees are actually not recycling and putting everything in one bin, it's useless. So it's also a very important part of HR to try to also check if people are sticking to all the rules and procedures that we try to implement.
Wow, okay. So HRM does not only provide education on how to be sustainable, but has the role of overseeing the process and guiding the people to greener practices.
Exactly, and also on top of that, HRM, it's not only about all the relations that's connected with the employees, but also they are kind of the ones, they are setting how I mentioned before, the company's culture, but they are also the ones setting the organizational development also with other departments. So also if they're in their hand when they try to set the course for the organizational development, to be more sustainable, then it's like goes to the other department. So they basically say like, okay, these are our values, we are trying to reduce the off-prints, and then they pass it to the other department. So for example, one of the interesting idea that we saw in real life scenarios, and especially big companies are implementing it now, is supporting people by supporting its employees by using the bicycle as a form of transportation when they go to the work. So nowadays there's a lot of big companies, they actually have a special place where people can safely load their bicycle while they're working, and some of them even provide them with changing rooms. So of course, especially when they are it's more further away, you can maybe get a little bit more sweaty, so there's a room where they can like change to the work clothes and even take a shower. So this is one of the also initiatives that the companies can take.
This is a great example. So green practices do not only apply to the office, but to life in general. Great, but how do you keep consistency? Because motivation can spark and everybody can become green for a full day, and on the next day they forget. How do you keep that bicycle going?
So for, of course, like that's very also, thank you for the question, is also a nice way how to talk a little bit about benefits, you know, because also for the companies to like introduce or promote these activities, it's the best if the people will get, we can say, some type of reward for it. So for example, companies can promote the cycling, that if they go with the car, they need to pay extra money for the parking space in the office, for example. Usually it's around 50 or 100 euros, depends where the office is located, but if they go with the bicycle, they don't have to pay anything. So it's like, for example, for them a way how to save money. And also other benefit or motivation It's a lot of the companies nowadays, they are having per year 1 or 2 or up to 3 volunteering days. So it's the days that people can take or employees can take to get off the work, to be involved in some volunteering activity, and most of the time this volunteering activity they are coming from the company. So a lot of the times there are these activities, for example, they are going to go to the local park or forest to plant trees, or go by the riverside to clean the river from the trash. So this is also the other way how to motivate its employees. And but also when we want to talk about the material benefits, also a way it's by the companies to maybe collaborate with some of the green and sustainable businesses, and for example with the takeaway cups, or reusable plastic bottles, and give them to the employees as a gift. So nowadays, from my experience, there's a lot of companies that are actually giving its employees at the beginning, for example, reusable water bottle, so they will be like using their own water bottle instead of using all the paper cups. But then this goes like all over the office. Also, the HR are the implementing ones like to not have the plastic cups in the office, or the plastic cutleries to have all the reusable one. So this thing, it's not only for the benefits but can go all over the company. But also the most important is basically to talk and raise awareness in the company and talk about what is the importance of the ecological and the healthy lifestyle, not only for the planet but also for their own life, because at the end we are all living in this earth, it's for us, so we should like all take care of it, because it's not only for the others or for the planet, but it's also for us and our own well-being.
I absolutely agree with you. Firmly believe that being sustainable and being green is also a very high form of self-care, you know? That's perfect. Can you give me more examples of remuneration?
So the example with the remuneration, it's, as I said, they can be material and not material. So for example, as I said, they can be, for example, like the plastic water bottles, but also that with the cycling. I know nowadays it's very popular with the companies. They actually give their employees like special bonuses for them to buy a bicycle. So at the end, even if for somebody like they cannot really afford it, it's eliminating this kind of limits they could have by trying to get a little bit more like healthy and more ecological lifestyle. And then also a way by HR to actually awarding its employees by when they stick to the ecological rules or they do some activity. So it's either to get them the free day, and also a lot of the companies, they even give a space for their own employees to develop some initiatives. So for example, I'm working for some big bank, and I see that in the local park, like for example, like the benches are very old, like people cannot sit on them, it's full of trash. So I can start the initiative in the company that they will provide me with all the plastic bags and trash bags and all the necessary tools I will need to clean the park. And I can take, as I mentioned, 1 or up to 3 days free also with my colleague, and we can go there and clean the park. And for the people who even start this initiative, we can give them also some bonus, for example, at the end of the month. So they will also have this also material reward. And all of these things at the end, they are helping with the retention of the employees. So the employees will try to stay more in the company, because it was proven if the employees really share the values of the company and they feel like what the company is doing is right, is helping people, and they are socially responsible, they are more likely to stay in the company. So this is also where HR comes in again, as I'm mentioning all the time. It's also when they are choosing the employees to try to be also very like diverse and inclusive of all the people, because the more diverse collective we have, the more we can also ensure more like a sustainable and ecological lifestyle and all the processes of the company.
Wow. Wow, this is awesome. Could you perhaps share an example from Spain, from your home?
So maybe we could conduct or like finish this interview by giving some of the best case. One of the things that was very like in a good way surprised is when I read the study that was conducted 2 years ago in 2022, when they did this big research in the Spain, and where they found out that all the big company we are considering a company that has more than 250 employees. Already 86% of all the big companies in the Spain, that's like very like almost like always a very like vast majority, are implementing sustainable and green practices in their life. So I was very impressed by this data. And also I feel like that it's also kind of like the responsibility of the big companies to set a good example, and then the medium and small companies will follow, because for sure for smaller companies at the beginning it's more harder to stick with some of the ecological rules, and they also cannot invest that much as the big companies. But if the big companies they invest and they set the rule, it's very also like motivating for rest of the companies. And I know, for example, like Santander Bank, that's like one of the biggest banks in Spain. They are doing every year awards for innovation and green solution, when they award and give grants of sometimes of millions of euros to innovative programs. So there was this one that was very interesting. It was this project that was called Nantec. It's from the Basque country in the north of the Spain, and this company dedicates itself to recycle all the plastic, even of the plastic that are not recyclable. So they have these big machines that actually divide the plastic in individual chemicals, and then we can use these chemicals to create a bio and more ecological fuel. And this company is very innovative, because I don't know if you knew it, but from all the plastics that are created from all the plastic waste, only 20% can be recyclable. And especially when we had recently the epidemic of COVID, there were a lot of face masks, and they were like contaminated, so like they could not be officially recycled. But by this technology, all the plastic can be recycled and used for the fuels. And before, maybe 10 years ago, companies were not very interested into implementing a biodegradable fuel, because for them it cost them more money than the fossil fuels. But now, by the new regulation by also Spain and European Union, they are forced to put more investigation into other ways how to get the fuel. So that's also why this solution is also even for the fuel companies very attractive, because it's a way for them how to obtain the biodegradable fuel.
Fascinating. So we're really walking towards a greener and more sustainable future. Thank you so much for joining us today. I wish our viewers a wonderful rest of your day. Follow us, subscribe for new episodes, and see you later.
Thank you very much for having me.